I'm Richard Southern. One of the biggest corporate news stories this past week was out of the fast food business. Chick-fil-A, the very popular U.S. fast food chain, famous for its fried chicken sandwiches, announced plans to open a restaurant in Toronto next year and 15 in the GTA over the next few years. It would be only its second Canadian location. It has more than 2,200 outlets in the U.S. Unique franchise model here, only about $15,000 to get in, although they vet the franchisees quite thoroughly. It is controversial, this company, though. Its values are influenced by Southern Baptist beliefs. The restaurants aren't open on Sundays. More concerning to some, though, has been the chain's anti-gay past. Back in 2012, Chick-fil-A donated millions of dollars to groups funding anti-gay conversion therapy and groups that oppose the fight for marriage equality. Again, the first Toronto Chick-fil-A set to open at an unknown location here in the city at some point next year. Well, big news as regards the sale of pot in Ontario. It was reported on Friday that the Ontario government is going to let private companies sell cannabis, scrapping the LCBO model where there would be government-run cannabis stores. Not going to do that anymore. It means you could buy cannabis at, say, a Shoppers Drug Mart if that chain applies for a license. It could also mean that the licensed growers, the ones that are publicly traded on Bay Street, they may potentially be able to open stores as well. Canopy Growth, the biggest company, may have already been anticipating that. It recently bought Tokyo Smoke, a big retail brand for cannabis. Cannabis stocks moved higher on Bay Street on Friday on reports of that private sale. Facebook stock took a face plant this past week, a major sell-off on Thursday for that particular stock on what was some weak earnings. The revenue wasn't up to snuff, but most concerning to investors, user growth. It went in reverse for the first time in the company's history. The scandals catching up with Facebook, the Cambridge Analytica scandal, the fake news scandal. It's also the case, too, that the company's maturing and user growth has plateaued. The stock was down some 20% almost on Thursday with $120 billion in market value wiped off the table. By the way, that means Mark Zuckerberg is $16 billion lighter. Huge news out of the airplane business this past week, the airline business. Air Canada making a move to buy back Aeroplan. That points program, announced a year ago, was breaking ties with it, but now it wants to buy it back. Air Canada, though, still planning on starting its own points program, but it says it wants Aeroplan so it can ease the transfer of points over. As well, WestJet with a big announcement this past week. It's going to start up a full-fledged business class cabin on all its 737s. First time it's done this, and this is what it looks like. 20% more legroom, a 2-2 configuration, in-seat power plugs, a divider. There will be a dedicated flight attendant, glassware, flatware, linens, hot meals, the works. Basically your standard domestic business class approach. Don't know what the pricing will be yet, but WestJet is doing this as it transitions from being a low-cost airline into more of a premium carrier. Doing so because it's starting Swoop, an ultra low-cost carrier. So really going head-to-head now with Air Canada. Well, maybe being your own airplane is more your speed. On sale now is your very own jetpack, and this is what it looks like. It is a 1,000 horsepower legit jet suit. Selfridges, the posh London department store chain, is selling this. Goes, though, for $447,000. Has 5 kerosene-powered jet engines on it. You can go up to 12,000 feet, but you might want to keep it closer to the ground. Finally, Commodore 64. Do you remember that? You can buy it again, a miniature Commodore 64 going on sale. It'll come preloaded with 64 games. It's plug-and-play ready. Even has basic 64, so you can develop your own games on it. Pre-order it now. It'll come out for sale in Canada in October, selling for $90. In the 680 newsroom, Richard Southern, City News.